Hello, I am Slightly Ticked Off Max, and today on Board Deck and Dice we are taking a look at Star Realms. Star Realms was my first deck building game, and boy do I love deck building games, so Star Realms has a lot to answer for. In Star Realms, as typical for deck building games, you will start with a deck of 10 cards, which are basic cards. You have a Scout card, which gives you 1 trade, and a Viper card, only 2 of those though, and they give you 1 attack. You will take those 10 cards, you will shuffle them up, and you will deal yourself a hand of 5. On your first go, you will be attacking the other player for up to 2, and then you will be using the rest of your money to buy more cards for your deck. A card that is always available is an Explorer. This costs 2 trade, but will give you 2 trade, so that's slightly more powerful than your standard ones. Also, this icon down here with the rubbish bin means you can scrap this card to get 2 attack as well. So whenever I play that card, I have the option of scrapping it out of the game. In the case of the Explorer, it does go back to this pile, and getting the 2 attack as well. Other types of ships are all done in factions. There's the blue faction, the yellow, the green, and the red faction. They all have names, but I just call them by their colours because it's easier. The blue, it says them on there anyway, which is a Trade Federation ship. Now, blues are generally the healing cards. There's not many, I don't think any of the others in this base set do healing. So blues, if you buy a lot of blues, you're generally going to get healing, and that's this green icon here. And that also says if you have 2 or more bases in play, draw 2 cards. Really handy, that. Yellows tend to be about power and deck manipulation, so drawing a card, making another player discard a card. And here on this Dreadnought, you have 7 attack, and you draw a card. If you scrap it, your attack goes up to 12. Green, the blobs. These blobs tend to be all about power and just attack. So this blob destroyer only costs 4, but it gives you 6 attack power, and it has this icon here. Whenever a card has this icon here, it means if you've played or you have a base in play of the same faction type, you get an extra power. So if this is the second blob I've played, I may also destroy a target base and or scrap a card in the trade row. This is the trade row that you buy from. Whenever you take one, you replace it from the deck. Now, here we have 2 different types of base. We have the outpost, which is signified by the black shield. This is a red outpost, so that will combo with any red cards. Red cards generally let you scrap things from your hand. Things that are scrapped from your hand go out of the game permanently. Why would you want to do that? Well, because as the game goes on, it is really annoying to draw a hand with lots of scouts and vipers in that aren't very powerful. This is an outpost. Outposts mean that a player cannot directly attack you, because in Star Realms you're not playing for victory points, you're playing to empty the other player of their health points, which I really like. Most games are about victory points. This is about taking your opponent out. So this outpost means that an opponent has to attack that, and attack that completely. They have to hit it with 5 power to put it into your discard pile before they can attack you. So if you get a couple of outposts out, that can be really handy. This other base is a silver one, and that just means that they can attack at any time. But all bases, whether they're a base or an outpost, have to be attacked with the amount of power shown all at once. Any leftover power can then be used to attack the other player. So that is Star Realms. Now, Star Realms was one of my early games. I tried it on the iPad first and couldn't make head nor tail of it, and then saw it in the shop as a physical version and picked it up, and just loved it. Just loved the way the deck building mechanics work. It doesn't do a lot different with the deck building mechanics, apart from aside from something like Dominion or even Street Fighter, the deck building game, which I would have thought would be a direct attacking the other person game. That instead is more of a victory point game. But this is about attacking the other person, about building a better hand of cards, in this case fleet of ships, to combo using the faction powers and to heal anything that they're doing. If you see them buying a lot of blues, then you sure better buy a lot of attack, or try and stop them buying the blues, or buy a lot of outposts. It's a very good game. Probably the worst thing about it is the way it handles scoring. You have these double-sided cards with different numbers on the back, and you have 50 health points, or authority as it's called in the game. Since White Wizard Games have released their Epic app, I now use that because you can set it up to 50 each, and you can just it's easy enough to take it on that. It'd be nice if they had an option to skin it for Star Realms, but it's better than using these cards. So yeah, this is one of my favourite deck builders. The second boxed version, core pack called Colony Wars, really ups the ante in terms of cards. You can buy a lot more powerful cards for a lot cheaper, and that means games go quicker. They were quick anyway, but usually in Colony Wars games go a lot quicker, apart from the one time my friend and I had a game of Star Realms that lasted over an hour, because he got all the blue healing ones in Colony Wars and I got all the big attacks. So every time I attacked him, he was healing up past 50, back up to 60. And I was trying to combo more and more attacks to get him down, but his attack was really weak because he'd focused on healing. And in the end, I won by 1 point. I was down to my last health point and I won the game. And that, even though it took longer than it should have, we still remember that game with fondness because of the way it played. So, intimidation factor. For me, the intimidation is quite high. I hadn't understood the app. The rules, not the greatest, but they'll do. They're above average. But when you're coming at a deck building game from it having not played one before and not understood the mechanics, if I'd played Dominion beforehand, I would have been fine, I would have been away, but this was my first deck building game, so that did make a difference. So if you've played deck building games or bag building games, you will be aware of the mechanics, you will be fine. If you haven't, it might take a while to get through your head. In that case, try and play with someone who has played, because actually it is really simple. So the rulebook's okay, the intimidation factor middle for this one, the fun, amazing, the variability. Now I can mix these two sets. There's rules in there for other variations. I tend to stick to the one-on-one, but there's other rules where you can play a multiplayer. You can play a boss mode where it's 3-on-1. It's a great package. The amount of game you get in the tiny box that it comes in just makes it a common sense purchase for anyone who likes deck building games. Thank you very much for watching me, Max, the slightly annoyed, on Board, Deck and Dice.